Welcome to this video. I want to discuss a topic today. What is your primary value? So many years ago, I was on vacation. Typically at the end of the year, the last couple of weeks, I like to go down to Florida. And I was sitting on the beach. I used to keep a daily journal. My journals were little notebooks like this. This is kind of a newer version of it, but I tended to keep these journals, and I happened to have a bag full of them, about 2 years worth of these journals. And what I used to track in those journals was the things that I spent my time and my energy towards. So not having anything to do on the beach, I kept studying these journals. And I literally spent hours and hours studying these journals. So what did I conclude? There were many days when all the tasks that were on my list to do, I got done, but I was miserable. So I kept drilling and drilling as to why would I be miserable on days when I accomplished most of the things that I set out to do. So eventually I found my answer. So on the days that I was happy, I was very creative. And when I say creativity, a lot of times, if you've done some research on creativity, they talk about entering a state of flow where you lose track of time. And, it seemed like on days when I had entered that state, maybe once or multiple times in a day, I felt like I had accomplished all my tasks, and not only those tasks, but my primary value, which was creativity. So with this realization in mind, it's like, what do I do? So in my weekly plans, and I used to plan weekly and execute daily, I made sure that on my daily task, I scheduled some time to do something creative. It might be something that only takes 5 minutes to do, but those 5 minutes changed everything. So, and another thing that I observed is that if I had gotten in a funky mood for a few days, and I do this all the time now, that if I get in a funky mood for a few days, I often will stop and I'll take a look at what happened the last few days. And a lot of times I will notice that creativity was missing for those few days. So if I miss 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, and of course our lives are crazy busy, and maybe sometimes your life kind of tends to go off the rails. So you tend to not focus on the thing that's your primary value. So nowadays, as long as I realize that that's my primary value, one thing that's interesting about creativity is oftentimes I get asked about different roles. Different companies reach out to me to perform, and I've never been shy to tell them about my primary value. I'll say, why do you feel like you want this role? And I'll say, hey, my primary value is creativity, and I believe I can be very creative in this role, and I could do X, Y, Z. So a lot of times that tends to impress the people I'm having a conversation with, because not only do I know my primary value, but I know how to apply it in that particular role, and how I can make that role into something that's enjoyable to me and something that I could excel at. So speaking of creativity, one of the things that I right now am trying to do is sell my Refining Basics course. And somewhere up there or down here, there's a link to my course. And if you believe that if you're a new person in the refinery and you want to know how all the different units function and how they're connected, what are the inputs, outputs, I believe that this course will provide you with those answers and enhance your opportunities in the future. So I look forward to you enrolling in my course, and hopefully you know what your primary value is. So take care.